I'm live. Are we live? Welcome to another episode of An Echo of Glory. 2 shows in a week. Aren't you lucky?
Very true.
Jake Robson's back.
Aren't we lucky?
Jake Robson's back. Hello.
Yeah, hello.
And the Donut's back.
What?
No, not you.
Not you.
I am back.
You are back.
Are
you are a donut.
Are you a donut? Oh, he is a donut. Okay.
But
I'm going. I don't need this.
But one thing we've done since the very start of this pod back in May,
The very start
in May 2023 was this beautiful.
Did we mention we've only been going 10 months?
We just did, and we got nominated for an award.
Which we won.
Well, maybe. This Lotus Biscoff donut, which I've not been able to find at the stadium, and someone put a tweet out last night that they'd seen it at the stadium, but I still haven't found it.
Well, why don't they tell us where they saw it?
But people reply in the replies, like in the mentions, where is it? And they never reply.
Right.
It's just a massive mystery.
So have we got the picture of it, James?
No,
there it is.
Look at that.
Does look
Okay,
good,
so where's he sat? It looks, or she?
He's south. South.
That's
at,
south.
at the very top, I think. From the
That's
looks of it.
south. Okay. If this is your picture,
Well, they don't sell them in the behind in the bar there.
What's going on top there?
It could have been.
like, was that a bit of chocolate brownie going?
Yeah.
Ah,
I have to say, I think I like to think that I've eaten most
So
of the food.
he's
in
James- slightly different
James,
donut,
hang on, did
actually.
James strategically place that right over the middle there, where I am?
Where the
because I'm
donut is.
You are the donut.
I don't know. I'm going home.
the donut.
Seriously.
Okay, right. Donut chat over with.
Well, I was going to say I like to think of myself as someone who's eaten all the food. I've never eaten anything. I've never bought any of the sweet food in the stadium. There isn't that much of it about. If you're having a couple of beers and food, you kind of feel like.
Well, our plan is to get Adam Richmond back on, isn't it? And do a whole sweep with the stadium and just do all the food. I mean, the club don't know about this yet. and neither does Adam. But it's my dream.
But we have aspirations.
We have aspirations. Okay, we're going to talk about other stuff now. A little bit of club news. The 21s played again. They beat Bristol City 1-0. In the cup. Will Lancashire scored a late goal, can't stop scoring. Got some bad news, though, about the 21s. I'm going to let you do it.
Yeah,
It's your mate.
Well, yeah, Alfie Dorrington picked up a hamstring. Similar, apparently, I'm told, to the way he pulled up was similar to Van de Ven against Chelsea. And at this stage of the season, probably he'd be doing well to get back for the last couple of games. But yeah, hopefully he's okay. And hopefully it's just another injury as a consequence of this new style of football that we're playing throughout the club that's demanding. And he's a young lad. So
Yeah. That's a
but
shame.
wish him well and speedy recovery.
That's a shame for him. Right, it is the 1st of February. We don't have our yellow ties on, but it is transfer deadline day.
But we did have Natalie Sawyer on.
We did have from Sports News early this week. Deadline day possibly being apt because it's completely dead out there. Barely anyone spent any money, but we've done a lot of players out, loans, and you start to feel now that the squad is taking shape. It's the start.
When we were talking at the beginning of the season, the biggest fear, I think, for all of us, aside from how the players would take to Ange and how how it would all fit together, but the biggest fear has always been the depth of the squad, and those sort of fears were realised in the aftermath of the Chelsea game with the suspensions and the injuries and so on. If I look at the squad now, probably not against Everton, but you can imagine at some point in February, we could well have a bench that would consist of Lo Celso, Dragushin, Werner, one of Saar, Bentancur or Bissouma.
Feels healthy, doesn't it?
You're going to have Emerson Royale on the bench. Like you've got 5 players there who are, on any given week could easily start. And suddenly it does feel a lot healthier. And actually the squad does feel a lot deeper. And I just sort of feel as though looking at the squad in its current form, we're probably a 8-10 player, sort of that number 8 who could play in a 10, and a really sort of top class striker away, perhaps, of having a very, very deep, strong squad.
Yeah, and it's going to take more than we've had summer and January now. It's going to take more than 2 windows to fix the mess.
But we're almost there.
Yeah, Pochettino talked about painful rebuild a long time ago, and we're sort of there now.
Well, this has been an unpainful rebuild so far.
Well, no, I mean, it's been, when you think about when he said it and what we've had to go through, it has been quite painful. But I think the other big thing about this window as well as sort of, and I'm sure we'll come on to Werner and the merits of signing him for 15 million or not. We'll come on to him because obviously he's a big part of the Brentford game. Dragushin's a good signing, but the other part is we always want players in, but equally as important is getting the players out.
Yeah.
And we have moved on players who weren't contributing to the squad, were eating up big salaries. The only one out that could have had any impact for the remainder of the season might have been Perisic, and it's a shame to see him going the way that it's a shame to see all of them going the way that they did ultimately. But
it often is though. You see players. I know it's maybe not the same, but do you remember how Jesse Lingard ended up leaving United? Like he'd been there from, and then it just sometimes it's just how it goes. It's top level sport.
Yeah, it's the way it goes.
Well, it is sometimes. There's no room for sentiment sometimes. You know?
But the way we've cleared out the squad is really important. You think about somebody like Eric Dyer, who was on big wages, but also was taking up a foreign spot in the squad. You know,
that's mad, isn't it?
It's mad. All that time he was taking up a foreign squad, and you think about now the players that we have remaining who probably need to go. You've got Brian Hill, and I think it's without question, whether it's today or whether it's in the summer, he won't be here next season. That's just obvious.
I know what you're going to say next.
Do you?
Played really well last night.
Lo Celso?
Oh, no.
No, I was going to say Lo Celso I think has to go as well. He's just not reliable, and he's coming up to the last 18 months of his contract, so he's got to go in the summer. You've got my mate Højbjerg, who did okay last night, I thought.
You won't get any better than that.
No, he did. He did okay. He did okay, but he did, exactly the same as what he did against City. He did okay, and then nearly cost us 2 goals because he's not good enough on the ball. He's not good enough to play under pressure. He's a very good player in the right system, but he's not good enough for this. So,
do you not think though? Actually, sometimes I think what is being, well, maybe this is your point, but in a certain role, which is you're leading, you want to try and close the game out with 20 minutes to go. He's actually almost ideal in that because he's a calm head. He's good enough on the ball.
But he did the opposite.
Not hopeless on the ball.
He did the opposite
yesterday.
Saying. He did the opposite when he came on when we were 1-0 down and had an effect. So I think he's more than just that.
Well, no, but as a minimum. I'm saying as a minimum.
We'll come on to the Brentford game. I'm not attributing the turnaround to Højbjerg. I'm attributing it actually more to tactical shift in formation.
Of which he was part of.
But, you could have had Bentancur in there or
no, Bentancur was slowing down. The point was
Bentancur didn't have a good game.
Bentancur
didn't have a good game, but we'll come on to it.
We'll come on to that.
But actually, for me, Ollie Skip was having a good game. And to answer your question, Ollie Skip for me, I think will or should be a 6. And he's the guy that when you want to close the game up, he's the one we should be turning to. You don't want Højbjerg in on the squad on eating up 100k a week, and coming on for 20 minutes as what is it, like an American football, a field goal specialist or something? Come on now, that's not the way that football works.
Well, actually,
right?
No, I disagree. Not about necessarily about. Or I disagree with you about him, but as far as eating up 100k a week, I mean, if you're going to sign, for example, say we had signed Conor Gallagher, well, somebody on big money, at least 2 people, if everyone's fit, is going to be on the bench. That if you want a big squad these days, you're going to be having players who are paid a lot of money sat on the bench.
But you're talking about the value of Højbjerg coming on for the last 20 minutes to close out a game. Number one, I don't think an Ange team should ever be looking to close out a game. I think they should be playing to get another goal all the time. And therefore, Højbjerg inherently just shouldn't really have a place in the squad. But look, coming back to the transfer window, the last player out, I think we've got 4. So you've got Lo Celso, Højbjerg, Hill and Sessegnon, right? Outside of that, you look around the squad and there's not much deadwood left at the moment. So where the squad was, where it is, the depth that we've got in it and the revamp that's taken place.
I totally agree with you. Just to top and tail the transfer window as it is so far. Dragushin in, 25 million. Werner in, on loan from Leipzig. Players out. Larissa's gone to Los Angeles, gone. These are all loans, though, Gaz. Phillips to Plymouth, Dyer to Bayern, Spence to Genoa, Reguilon to Brentford, Alfie Devine to Plymouth, Tanganga to Millwall, Perisic to Hajduk Split. Some of those won't come back, but at the same time,
some of them were never seen again.
They're loans. We've still got to get them off. There's other players.
I've forgotten about Ndombele. I've forgotten about Reguilon and so on. So.
I mean, if you're Lloris going to LA, you're not coming back.
Huh? No. But Lloris is gone.
No, he's gone.
Yeah,
it's not a loan.
Oh, that wasn't a loan.
No.
But probably never coming back.
You're busy reading.
I am. Joel Delane.
Coming in.
We've had a couple of messages. Norman Stanley Fletcher, who last week told us that he had Mike England's blood-stained cotton wool.
What's he got today?
He's back. Afternoon, chaps. Tough old watch last night. I guess I was expecting some Ange ball. Well, we got it for 15 minutes. Joel Delane. Hey, guys. Odd watching live. Normally, I watch at 1.5 speed.
Ah.
Why would you do that?
To get through it quicker.
Because he only has half an hour in his day set aside.
Can I check that people can hear us? Are you worried that they can't? Well, you are. Why?
We always get people saying...
Oh, volume.
Yeah, right, okay, right, let's do this now. Let's cards on the table.
That's a podcast thing. An audio, that's not a
Our
YouTube
producer's
thing.
moaning that we have an issue with the audio, but let us know if it's coming out loud and clear. And James,
Can you hear us?
James will tell us that everyone's fine.
I think it's for people listening as on podcast suppliers rather than providers, rather than YouTube.
Yeah.
Can we get back to chatting about football?
Yeah, we can. And that's another message here. Jim F. Skip played well last night. If he's happy to remain as a squad option in a season with European football.
Homegrown club
I don't see Ollie
crucial.
Skip. I don't see Ollie Skip as the kind of guy who's going to get unhappy about much. To be honest, he's not going to be banging down the manager's door. I wouldn't have thought.
I'm getting so much abuse
saying he
today.
doesn't want to
What is? I'm a donut. I'm slow.
Joel
Don't need to be here.
Joel mentions memorabilia. We had a bit of a trip down memory lane show on Tuesday with a bit of memorabilia. I don't know if our wonderful producer James can find this on our Twitter. Joel was in his loft clearing out rubbish and found a plethora of Spurs memorabilia. Programme from the semi-final. Well, that's something we had on last week. Yeah, from Lloyd Becker we had this from Adam Nathan. This from James, our producer. There's Lloyd Becker with Richard Goff. Can't find Joel. Joel found a load of programmes and the old pennants, a real hoard of Spurs stuff, which is great. Keep those coming in. Right, let's get back to it. Transfer window, top and tailed. I don't know if anything else will happen. I'm not convinced now.
It doesn't seem likely, does it?
No one spent anything.
There's the Swedish kid whose name escapes me at the minute. But aside from that, the one that Kulusevski was shown around the training ground allegedly earlier this week, but has the option of us or Barcelona. So what are you going to do?
You wanted to ask me a question about...
Yeah, I did. No, I was going to say, actually, I was interested in the transfer window because this is the first season that financial sustainability has really kicked in. And I remember last year, the January window was mental, primarily with Chelsea. And I think you've got some stats about
numbers.
Spend this year, this January transfer versus last.
Last year, January, 719.45 million.
And this year?
Well, I was on these numbers. You see other numbers banded about. We like to at work doing the numbers based on what we understand has been spent, not this what could be spent with the add-ons. So people say, "Oh, 900 was spent." It's the upfront supposed fee, 719.4 million compared to this year. This was at about 12 o'clock today after Villa announced a player. So 719 million last year compared to 70 this summer. This January.
How much of last January?
Because he lives.
How much of January was Chelsea last year?
Last January, Chelsea spent
790 was the overall spend, right?
719.
719 was the overall spend. Chelsea spent
284.5 million pounds.
Well, there you go.
So you take Chelsea out of it, you're left with about 450 odd million pounds.
Interestingly, Southampton spent 61 and got relegated.
That seems to have been a good investment.
That can't be right.
But it just goes to show.
No, it did.
It goes to show. I mean, is this the way that football should be? It should be like this. You should have to be concerned about how you're spending and sensible recruitment and right recruitment rather than just splashing here and there and everywhere.
Let me tell you who spent money so far. Villa spent 15 million. That was today. Morgan Rogers for Middlesbrough. Brighton has spent 7.8 million on a kid I think they've loaned back out. Palace spent 6.8 million on a forward from Belgium.
West Ham have done bits, haven't they?
Yeah. Luton 1.7 million, not sure on who. City spent 12.5 million on a kid from Argentina that's gone back. Sheffield United spent 2 million on a goalie who got injured in the first half an hour and got concussed. Tottenham spent 25 million on Dragusin, and that, so far as I've got it here, is it?
Yeah.
Yeah, as Nats in the pizza says 700 million. Yeah, 700 million spent last January. He also mentioned Richard Goff was class. Shame he got homesick. Yeah, I'm getting Richard Goff on this pod. That is my...
He'll come on.
Yeah, that's what I really want to get him on. And Padani said, we'll talk about this, but Skip to the right will always run his heart out.
No, but it just goes
to the right.
It just goes to show the changing of the tide in the transfer market, and you know, financial sustainability is clearly doing its job, and I think it's a very good positive thing, actually. So you know, I hope it's here to stay, and I hope we see more tough windows like this when actually a club like Tottenham that has been run financially well can start to actually, you know, it's not a pipe dream to take Chelsea's captain off them because they are in such disarray.
Correct.
And we can go and start taking off them now, and that's how much it will and should turn, because we have been run properly, and they have been run as an absolute disgrace over the last 20 years.
He's a Chelsea fan, though, so I just don't know if. Or I think he came up through the system, so you just wonder if that's.
I think they have to
I'm
sell
using him as an
Oh,
example.
they have to sell him, but I wonder.
I'm using him as an example, right? Of it shouldn't be that Chelsea have a sugar daddy and can just go and spend and buy whoever they want. It should be.
Well, they don't.
That's the point. That's the point. Is that's the way that football has now changed, and it's absolutely correct. And we're seeing it in these numbers in this window, and it's a positive thing.
Good socialist model.
The Politics Pod with Jake Robson.
That's another pod yet to be seen. James, what do you reckon?
He's fallen asleep.
Yeah.
Is he in? Right, last night, let's come on to Brentford. Me and you had a little bit of fun outside the ground last night before Brentford. As we said on Tuesday, we were going to be outside, little Spurs quiz.
It was fun.
Yeah.
It really was.
Look out for that on our, TikTok. Gary hates TikTok. TikTok.
I'm just older than 12. So.
It'll be up on Instagram as well.
Insta.
It'll be up on Insta.
All of our shorts channels as where it'll be.
Can we just mention that I smashed it because I happened to bump into you and I did the quiz?
Yeah, you got 6 out of 6.
It was 5 out of 5, wasn't it? Was it 6?
No, it was 6 out of 6.
Jake
calling it 5 out of 5,
5.
but he can't count past 5. It was actually 6
It was
out of 6.
You got 6 out of 6.
And I'm the donut.
And you're the donut. You ate the donut.
I felt under pressure though.
And it was great though, wasn't it? Because we had, not only did we have, we had a couple of people actually coming up saying, "Oh, I'd heard that you were going to be here, wanted to do the quiz," which is great. So there is actually somebody watching.
Yeah, I'm going to name check them.
Well, we also had a couple of guys who didn't know we were there, but knew the pod. Some couple of guys recognised Johnny's face. "Oh, that's you off YouTube."
They did, yeah.
They did. We like that.
Can't
pay for this.
A couple of shout outs to Steve Holyland and David Lucas Smith, who came to say hello, and Alan, who's I think our new hype guy. Watch out for his
Alan.
For the short on the quiz. He came up to us and he recognised us, and he was wearing a half and half scarf, Spurs home shirt, and a pink Spurs cap. Alan was a good guy.
He recognised this.
Yeah.
Which of course you can go and buy, along with other merch.
There was a couple of shout outs or requests for the Spurs beanie hat last night. So
incoming.
Yeah, we're gonna have a
Where do they
about
get
that.
them?
They get them. Where do they get them, James?
Where do they get what?
The merch.
Echoofglory.com.
Is that a thing?
Apparently so.
Of glory.
You get a hat
And
like this. I'll show you the hat
echoofglory.com.
hair. Lovely stuff.
Hat hair.
There it is. Look, it fits nicely as well. You can change it at the back.
Oh, yeah.
Very snug.
Got our own website.
Lovely stuff. You got there's glasses there. Yeah, other stuff incoming. I'm thinking like maybe beanie hats. What's going to be next? What's next in the range? Cufflinks, golf tees, that kind of thing.
Echoofglory.com is
I'm
up.
just thinking of the Tottenham one. You could just get everything on there, can't you? I used to get the catalogue when I was young. I used to love looking through it, and just kind of imagining that you owned all this stuff. And I was younger, so I was looking at you get like cufflinks and stuff that you just. Do people buy these things?
Only what Ollie Spiro's dad could print.
Yeah, we have friends' dad likes to print stuff.
Ollie, he's a
likes to
listener.
print stuff. Is his job. He doesn't like to print stuff.
Ollie Spiro, I recognise that name.
Yeah, he's been on.
Yeah?
we've had him
tweets
and yeah. Okay,
He's got a rich dad, is he?
All right. Let's
That's what James is saying. That's what James is saying, not my words.
Let's talk about last night. He's got a couple of messages on that we'll come to. Padani, who's got a couple of messages we'll go back to, has just been reminded that he's got a Biscoff cheesecake in the freezer. He'll be right back.
Send us some.
Yeah, do you know what I mean? You know where we are at Launchport Studios. Right, so the lineup last night was thus. Vicario in goal.
Whee.
Perro, Porro, Romero, Van der Ven, Udogi, Skip and Bentancur, Kulusevski, Maddison, Werner, Richarlison. Okay. Yeah, happy with that?
Yeah. Madders and Bentancur starting for the first time together.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Mm-hmm. What more could you want?
Absolutely. I mean, I was a little bit surprised, I've got to be honest. I thought Højbjerg would start ahead of Skip.
Yeah, me too.
Especially after he...
No, but he's our super sub now.
Especially after he said, like, in the middle of the week that he would be staying for the rest of the season. It felt to me as though he would be in the team ahead. But I was quite happy to see Skip ahead of Højbjerg last night.
Padani, 86.
Skip played well.
He says Skip did all right, will always run his heart out. For me, that's the minimum. If you're playing for Tottenham, you run your heart out.
I thought Skip did very well last
night. But I did...
What is Skip... Sorry, Jake. What is Skip playing well? He doesn't, for me, just doesn't do anything. apart from run his heart out. And I'm sorry if that sounds harsh. I want more.
Well, no, he is. You can't deny that he's good on the ball.
I'm going to. I think he's tidy.
Well, okay. I wouldn't say his range of passing is that good. I think in the six, as you put it, I think against a team like Brentford, I mean, you want him starting against Arsenal probably. But he's played a couple of games recently further forward. United was one.
Yeah.
He was all right.
Yeah, I think that's the problem. I think Ollie Skipp is more of a 6 than he is an 8. He had a crucial intervention last night that stopped a certain goal. I actually thought it might have been called back for a foul or an offside, but in the first half at 1-0, he had a really, really crucial intervention where they absolutely would have scored, but he managed to get it behind for a corner. He is tidy on the ball, and I just think he's somebody that we ought to be investing in more than Højbjerg. He should be getting more game time. He's clearly going to stay at the club. He's
do you know why he's going to stay at the club?
He's homegrown, he's club trained. But you can dismiss that, but it's important, right? You need these players. You can't have a squad of foreign superstars. You need homegrown. You need club trained. And he has a place in the squad.
What you're saying is there's too many foreigners. Get them out.
No, not
There's
at all.
rules.
That's another pod as well.
I'm saying this is back to your politics squad. Rules is rules, right? You need Ollie Skips, and he is not a bad player. I think he's a good squad player. And last night, I don't care what you say. I thought he had a decent game. He was not somebody at half time coming off the pitch that I was pointing at and thinking, you've been the problem this half.
Yeah, fair enough.
I agree with Jake Sanders.
I'm a bit upsetting. You don't care what I say and what Johnny says. I really care.
No,
what
I care.
You say. I hang off your every word, Gary.
Didn't quite mean it.
Hey,
like
listen.
that.
At the end of the day, I'm going to come up with two cliches here. At the end of the day, it's a game of opinions.
That's why we love
That's why we love it.
Jake Sanders has had his opinion. What does Skip offer besides running around a lot? I'm kind of there. Like, you need players like that who are tidy. I want more from my central midfielders. And Norman Stanley Fletcher controversy. I think Winks was better than Skip. Yeah, I'm going to agree. And I wasn't a huge fan of Winks either. Maybe I just have an issue with shuffly central midfielders.
Hey,
Well, that's what they are. Both of them are they're the same player.
yeah, but I don't think it's unfair actually to compare Skip to Winks without seeing Winks played under Ange, because I actually think he could be he could almost be the upgrade from Skip, I think, under Ange.
That's quite a good point.
Because he had the range of passing in his locker. What he didn't do, probably, was pass it forward enough. But Ange, you're not going to get in the team if you don't pass the ball forward. And I actually think he could. I mean, he could have almost been like the Bissouma, right, in this team. Winks. No, not for you. His range of passing was probably better. He's probably not quite as good on the ball. He was pretty technical though. You'd call him a technical player.
I think Winks is better than Skip.
I think Skip is a higher ceiling than Winks. Much higher
I
ceiling.
don't
Much
actually.
higher
I actually
ceiling.
don't.
Is that because Winks is short?
So Skippy, to be fair. No, I think Skip's got a much higher ceiling.
Hey, listen, we love them all.
I'm amazed we've spoken this long about Winks and Skip. I'm moving it on.
I just want to answer a question from Joel, who says thoughts on Donny last night. Now, obviously, like
Well, we're gonna get to that.
It was a cameo, but I just need to
You're
say,
jumping the gun.
are we though? But while it's there, right? I just want to say this. Did you not love it? Like, I thought it was his Harry Kane moment. You know Harry Kane away at Old Trafford when he booted the ball, like he was offside and we were winning, and he just booted the ball into Rose End and then flopped on himself, right? And then instantly became a crowd hero. This before Harry Kane was Harry Kane. Donnelly's come on last night, and one of the first things he's done is rugby tackle them on the break, and I was like, absolutely.
But it was a brilliant thing to do.
Brilliant,
Amazing.
right thing to do.
Amazing.
Took the booking, took one for the team, the absolute right thing to do. But I was like, that is your Harry Kane moment.
I could
mate.
hear you cheering at that point.
Oh, I was.
could
I
hear
was.
you.
I was honestly, mate, that was class.
While we were on the subject, though, as I was walking to the station afterwards, I heard two guys talking about, and they were talking.
Two guy, what the ex-Blackburn?
Two guy, yeah.
What's he doing
Two
there?
guys.
Good player.
Five
Good
guys.
player, yeah.
5 guys? No, 2 guys.
Two guys.
Get your burger shouts in. No, they were talking about, the one guy was calling him Jamie, so I was thinking, mate, does he know him? No, he was talking about,
Jamie Donnelly.
yeah.
Oh yeah.
So he was referring to him as Jamie. So I don't know if it was just like the thing fans do or like he actually knew him. He might have done, but he was sort of suggesting that maybe I think he did know him, because he was suggesting that he'd heard from him before, and he was saying that if he got the chance to come on, he sort of foresaw himself maybe doing something like that, being in a position where he might have to foul someone or something like that.
That's just the way that we play.
This is what
and
this guy
being
was
ahead,
saying. I don't know if it's true or not, but I mean, what a foul it was.
Great foul.
It was a great.
Okay, so we huffed and puffed for the first half. We fell into every trap that Brentford set for us.
And the ref.
Yeah.
No, the ref let them. Come on, this has to be addressed because we've said it before, right? As soon as they went 1-0 up, the ref just let them play their game.
It's a real dog episode today. You'll see why in a minute because we've got a pre-recorded interview we're going to put in.
But the ref let them play their game and just completely fragment the game, slow it down at every opportunity, kill the game as much as possible. Refs need to be better. The ref last night was awful. Absolutely awful.
I don't like talking about refs for a number of reasons, but I actually didn't think he was that bad.
Really?
Yeah. I think Norgard should have gone. Norgard should have
been sent off 4 times.
Yeah, captains always get a 3-1 or 2.
Hang on about. We were 3-1 up.
They do.
We were 3-1 up.
They just do.
We were 3-1 up, and he had a
just
horrific challenge that was a booking, if not a red in its own right.
That wasn't him.
Right? Whatever. He had about 3 or 4 with 3-1 up, and he should have got another booking, and that would have killed the game dead. But the ref, no, we'll make a game of this.
Anyway, we weren't 1-0 down because of the ref. We could have been 1-1 because of the ref, and I agree with Jake Sanders. Thoughts on Richarlison's disallowed goal looked like one of the softest. You're just going to get that as a defender. You go down facing your own corner flag. You go down facing your own goal if there's a striker near you. I thought it was in the stadium. I was like, oh, it's just a foul. Looking back, no.
So somebody made the point.
The replays. There was a little bit. There was
for a foul.
Well, I mean, yeah, but if you go down, you're going to get it. You're going to get it. So it doesn't.
Somebody made the point on Twitter that it wasn't clear and obvious, which is why VAR would never have overturned it. But if that had been a striker going down,
ref had already blown the whistle,
challenge,
so VAR not overturning it.
Don't think that if a striker goes down in the penalty area under a challenge like that, VAR are absolutely scrutinising it over and this is my point, right? VAR would have scrutinised it, and they may well have gone, there wasn't a touch or there was a slight clip, ref, there was a slight clip, maybe you should take a look at that, and it would have been a penalty. In this instance, I don't think there's anything close to enough for Collins to have gone down. If Richarlison had stuck it in and had gone in and the referee had gone, no, that's a foul, VAR could have intervened. But the moment Richarlison, he blows the whistle before Richarlison basically shoots. Because Collins goes down. And you say you're always going to get that. Why should you always get that? Defenders have got to be made to play. They shouldn't be.
No, I think he means that's just how it goes.
No,
you're right.
No. I know what he means, right? That's where it's going to go. You're always going to get that. I get that. But that is incorrect. It shouldn't be that way. Yeah. Defenders should have to know that they have to defend properly.
Yeah.
And just taking a flop and relying on the ref going, free kick, isn't good enough. And it was soft. And it could have changed the game much earlier because we'd have gone in at 1-1.
Anyway, half-time came and I was sitting there thinking, glad it's not me in charge because I don't know what I'd do now. And suddenly...
Was that your thought?
Yeah, I'm no tactician.
You thinking? So have you had other moments where you're thinking, right, I am the Tottenham manager?
Yeah.
Right, okay.
Yeah, I wouldn't have played Michel Vorm in that semi-final against Man United or Son at left wing-back against Chelsea.
Okay.
But now, thinking, last night I'm thinking, I don't know what to do.
Too much for me.
1-0 down over to Brentford. I'm out. So he takes off Bentancur, who I absolutely love. Since I waxed lyrical about him as a kind of a poor game and a half. But took him off, brings on Højbjerg, takes off... Who else came off?
He took off Skip,
and brings on Johnson. Fine. And Brentford, who had sat on the edge of their penalty area in 2 banks of 4, or 4 and a 5 almost, suddenly 15 minutes or 10 minutes...
Skip and Bentancur off, Højbjerg and Johnson on. Yeah.
Suddenly the game opens up.
But that means... Therefore, that Kulusevski has come inside, right?
Correct.
So Johnson's gone out.
Yeah.
Correct.
So we've got Maddison and Kulusevski playing as the 8s or the 10s or whatever you want to call them. And we've got Højbjerg as the 6.
Yeah. But I get all of that. And we...
No, but I think the important thing about this is
playing to Kulusevski and Maddison centrally.
But
we created... Suddenly
we were talking about this the other day. Is it possible that Kulusevski now should be considered not as a winger anymore? Because the best performances he has put in a Tottenham shirt for me this season at least. Okay, when he joined, he was phenomenal. Different formation, different way of playing. No doubt about it. His best performances have been playing as an 8 or a 10, not playing from the wing. Now, whether you think that Johnson is a better player than him,
I think it's good to mix it up with him.
Potentially, well, we saw evidence of it last night, and I wouldn't say actually that he was responsible for it necessarily, us, but I just don't think it's a coincidence. And let's not forget, who was it that said this? We had the Italian guest on a couple of weeks ago.
Nima.
Didn't he say that Kulusevski started
as a 10.
As a 10. It was only really at Juventus he got shoved out there, and then Conte picked that up. I think that was what he was saying. So maybe it is his best. Maybe we shouldn't consider him as that anymore.
All of that said, and I agree. Brentford just disappeared. They suddenly played higher up.
Yeah,
Why were they doing that?
They melted.
They melted.
They were eviscerated within.
They
10
melted like
minutes.
those chocolate coins I had in my pocket that I bought for the quiz and forgot to hand out.
You didn't.
Yeah,
They
I
melt in your
handed
pocket?
out some and they melted in my pocket. Yeah.
When did you find out?
When he put his hand in his pocket.
When I went to reach for one after the second goal to share out with the people sitting next to you.
Celebration sweets like Hanukkah.
I think there were a few things. At
You
halftime.
sat there with chocolate fingers.
All right.
That's another pod as well.
The problem we've got now is that Gary's gone.
No, I'm all right. I'm all right. No, you mentioned like you don't know what you would have done at halftime. Aside from the brilliant tactical tweak that Ange made and getting Johnson and Werner much higher and wider, there are a few things.
I'm going to take you to task on that. I'm sorry. Because I've watched all the goals back again a few times. The second goal, Werner, the first goal, Werner actually was.
They were very similar, the goals
was
in the end, weren't they?
was inside. I actually
Yeah, but it was
felt
much higher.
higher, but actually
Yeah.
slightly narrower.
Yeah,
because he
okay.
realised that I don't want
But
you.
they were slipping it inside the channel between the wing back and the left centre back, right?
Yeah.
And that's where they were trying to work Werner into.
Yeah.
And there's a few things that struck me. So even without all of the tactical tweaks, which I want to come on to, the first half, the very first thing that I would have been saying is we weren't moving the ball quick enough. We were
That's
so
why Benson
slow.
came off.
We were so slow on the ball, and it starts. And I was watching Romero in the second half in particular. The first half, the ball's he's rolling it under his foot. He's looking around. The second half, he was getting into his feet and ping into the 8. Right, each time, bang, he was moving that ball much quicker. So straight away, the speed of play was starting from the back much quicker from Romero, and that's the first thing. When you're playing against a team like that wants to sit in, you've got to move that ball about much quicker and make and pull them about the place. And that's the first thing that happened. The second thing that I saw happen last night in the second half was Maddison, having been in the 10 almost by himself, was sort of here, there, and everywhere. But you watch it back, and I'd be interested to see a heat map of Maddison in the second half. He played in a channel down that left-hand side where we knew where he was, we knew where to pick him up, and he knew the game around him much more instinctively because the patterns were much more set.
Yeah.
So I think that made a big difference as well. So those were the key things for me tactically. The other thing that I would have been interested to see, and I was going to ask you about, completely forgot, would have been, and this comes back to...
We do our prep here.
would have been the percentage of attacking play in the second half that we had. Because I have a feeling that the players already are looking to Werner a great deal more than to Johnson. Now, that's not necessarily a comment on Johnson.
I can give you that.
So you do that.
Well, I've got it.
Oh, okay. That's not necessarily a comment
you.
on Johnson because he obviously popped up at the fast stick with a goal. But the players seem to know that Werner getting into that gap is going to do... He's much more direct. He's much more... wants to get straight at them, which I love to see.
I've got bad news. You're asking me the attacking third.
Yeah.
First half, we attacked 41.5% down the left and 30% on the right. Second half, 33.5% on the left,
Yeah.
40% on the right.
Really? I find that shocking, to be honest, because it looked to me like everything was coming down the left.
It'll be the halftime beers then, won't it?
I was driving last night. It looked to me like everything was coming down the left, and everything good we did came through Werner.
Yeah, and the goals kind of came from the left channel for sure.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Do you know
Kulusevski,
what?
by the way, for the second goal, played a wonderful pass.
Into Werner.
Yeah.
Do you know what's interesting, guys, on those stats? First half stats, Tottenham 72% possession, but not doing anything. Second half, okay, Brentford got to get into the game, but dropped to 63%. So we had less of the ball, but did more. Yeah, as I say, Brentford had to get into it. But the
Well,
first
I'd
half,
ask you the question, so I wouldn't have set myself up like that. But perceptually, like we were doing a lot more damage down the left-hand side.
first half, we just looked, like Gary says, too slow. So maybe the halftime team talk was just move the ball quicker.
I had a thought last night, and I hate it when people do this because it's literally 45 minutes. But could it be an uncomfortable truth that maybe Maddison and Bentancur in the same starting 11
No, I think you have
Or
to.
is it's just time, isn't it?
Yeah,
they need
it was
time.
Maddison's first game back. Bentancur,
Madison looked good. It was Maddison that was the problem, really.
Let's keep in mind that Bentancur was only expected to come back at the earliest about now, right?
Yeah.
And I think he's pushed himself to come back much, much earlier because we really needed him.
Well, he'll be better for Sarr being back as well.
Yeah, give the guy a bit of a rest. I'm not going to give him too much stick.
No,
but
I'm not
any
putting it
problem.
onto him specifically. I'm talking about as a pet, as a two.
No.
So do we
I think
think
the more
that going
footballers you get
forward, do we consider them to be nailed on for two of those
Sarr,
three
Maddison,
spots?
Bentancur.
With maybe Bentancur in the 6?
Or
is Sarr in the 6? Because Sarr hasn't been playing in the 6. Because Bissouma's been playing in the 6. But
you've got great
nailed
options.
on.
The more technical footballers that you have on the pitch, and we saw this against City, right? Because we were one technical footballer short in Højbjerg who they could press, and they knew that. If you've got a Bissouma there, or a Bentancur and a Sarr, or whatever it is, and you can beat that press, I just think that the more technical footballers you have in there, the harder and harder we become to play against.
I agree.
They might not have to drop deep as much. Maybe that was part of the problem as well.
But we've also made this point on this show was we blew Brentford. We really were poor for about 80 minutes last night, I would say. Even in the second half, I think we were poor for most of it. But we had a 10-minute blitz where, we've said this before, Spurs play for 10 or 20 minutes at that velocity.
It's what you've been asking for. 3 goals, bang, bang, bang.
It's what I've said all the time. Like when we have that we get into that 15, 20 minute groove. And it's so hard to keep that up for 70, 80, 90 minutes.
Yeah.
I mean, if you did that, you'd beat teams 8 or 9-0, right? Yeah. But it's enough to beat a team like Brentford. It's what always gives me hope with the Spurs team is they get into that ferocity of play. I think I called it once vicious attacking football, and it was vicious, and it's enough to blow teams away. What concerns me is what happens in the rest of the game around that, because we've got too many mistakes in the teams.
The concern has been, like you've said before, maybe in Villa where we didn't get the goals.
Correct.
I actually think
West Ham.
I don't think. West Ham. That was the other one. I don't think last night was that concerning because both their goals were gifts.
Yeah,
well, the second goal was a gift.
So it was against West Ham. So it was against Villa. This is the problem.
But I think you're also. I think in a new team, which we are, I think you're going to get that. City and Liverpool when they're respective managers joined did a lot of that, and they'd always come out, the manager, you'd get the questions afterwards, are you going to tell them to next time to hoof it long? And he'd say, absolutely not, we're going to do it again and we're going to do it better.
Just a couple of comments. Jim F. Maddison and Bentancur have probably only had 2 or 3 weeks training together.
No, they have, I know.
Agree with that. Either one or the other has been injured since Maddison arrived. True. Son of a gun, Sarr, Bentancur, Maddison leaves no place for Kulu as he's not a winger. And son of a gun said a couple of other things on Kulu. He needs to be better with his finishing. I agree with that. But look,
hey, he's a good sub to bring on.
These are issues. It'd be great to have this problem, right?
It's a great problem to have.
It's a great problem to have.
It's a good headache.
I want to just quickly, Joel Delaney has asked about the Johnson haters being silenced for a bit. Look, Johnson pops up at the back post and scores a key goal. I didn't think he did.
You know what I wrote down?
Didn't think he did much else.
Your mate, Brennan Johnson, pops up at the back post.
Okay, good. It was in the team to do. Like, I'm still not, that's not changed anything for me. I want to see more.
It was kind of relating back to the point that I was suggesting every threat that we had last night was coming down the left, with Werner just being so much more aggressive and direct in his play.
Udogie.
And Udogie as well.
In that left channel. It's not the left, I don't know what you call it. It's like the left third of the pitch.
But I think when
you split the pitch into I'd say it was from the edge of the centre circle, where the centre circle ends at the line, to the penalty area. That line, he draws a straight line. Udogie is just up and down, up and down.
But with Johnson, I like him, and I think he's got a high ceiling and a lot of potential. I think he needs to look at somebody like Werner on the other side and say, I need to be more aggressive. I need to go at players a lot more. I need to drive at the fullbacks and at the defence a lot more. What Werner did so well last night, because I thought he was fantastic last night, wasn't just how he got in behind, but the number of times that as a winger who's played a striker, he's just got that natural ability to slow...
You pointed to me there, a winger that played as a striker. I was never a winger.
He's got that natural ability to slow up his fullback, face him up, stop him dead, and then bang, he's off, right? Like, it's that stop-start that fullbacks find it so hard. I think Johnson needs to he's got the pace to do that. It doesn't require huge amounts of skill. You just slow him up, and then bang, you're gone.
Great celebration too, because that Neil Maupay's a bit of a one, isn't he?
Yeah, I didn't really... I mean, it's happened a couple of times with players wanting to get into Maddison with the
He's rattled a lot of fans, Maddison. Brentford, particularly. We had Natalie on. She said he'd been a bit of an annoyance. I think Natalie dumbed it down. I got a couple of Brentford friends who said over the years, especially at Norwich, we had a few issues with Maddison. So there's something there. But it's not just been Brentford.
Yeah, we had it earlier in the season.
Another set of fans just
A
don't
lot of
like
fans
him.
don't like. Yeah,
no, there was another player. It was
Saka.
It was Saka did it as well.
But every time we've come out on top, or we drew with Arsenal, but we got back in the game. And as Maddison said to Morpay, you've not scored enough goals to have your own celebration, have you?
And he sent Saka off for a donut, didn't he, to set up the equaliser. So so he had his dig back at him.
All right, so
he said so. He's had to copy mine.
Is that what he said? Yeah. So let's just park the Brentford game. It's a massive win, with Villa getting beat. Those are the games you've got to win.
But Villa are title contenders and we're not.
Yeah, there was a bit of that, wasn't there, going into that Newcastle game, mentioning 4 teams that could win the title and we're not in it. 3 points behind them, now we're above them.
What about Richarlison's goal, though? Again, where's he scoring it from? The width of the 6-yard box.
Who's been saying that?
The posts. Absolutely. Which is why, I've said it loads of times, which is why he has to be considered our best number 9 option at the moment.
He's our only number 9 option.
No,
you're talking about Son.
No, people want to see Son there, but I don't think Son stays.
That's interesting, isn't it? Because is Werner going to go to the bench?
Well, this is on that. This
to.
leads me nicely into the question of Werner for 15 million. You've got Richarlison as the number 9, and I would have him as number 9 ahead of Werner, and I have Son ahead of Werner at left wing. And yet I'm looking at Werner for 15 million, and I'm like, just pay the money up front now.
Spend the money.
Get it done. I mean, he's 27 years old. I love his attitude. I love the way he communicates. I don't think the guy's put a foot wrong. He's a player that's come into the squad and very quickly. I just seem to. I think he's going to bond a lot more with Spurs than he ever did with Chelsea, and I think he fits the way we play.
That's because we're nice.
And going into next season, when we're going to have many more games, hopefully to be in the Champions League, I think he'll have tremendous value in the squad. I'd pay it for him.
You can sometimes tell.
Not personally.
What the attitude.
I wish I could.
couple of mil.
Put in £15.
£15. You can sometimes tell the attitude of players towards other players in their team. In terms of when you can sometimes tell by body language whether they rate one of the, and it feels like you've got Maddison and Werner. Maddison's always going over to Werner to either high five him or chat to him, and you sort of feel like
seem a good bunch.
Is that like a kind of thing where he's going, yeah, I really rate this guy. He's one of the guys I'm going to talk to. I trust him. That kind of vibe, and he does that a lot. I saw it a lot last night.
Well, he did it.
I think they rate him, and it must be the way he trains. And players can tell when other players have got it, whatever it is.
Yes.
And
I think
he
value to what
has that, Werner. I think he has
There was someone that Kane never passed to, and no, genuinely, I can't remember who it was. Kane would always spin out to the right, and he went, oh, no.
Not for me.
No, I can't remember who it was.
But no, I think Werner is the opposite of that. And whatever, and I think he must have had that at Chelsea, but somewhere it got lost along the way with the fans and maybe with the players as well, because he kept getting missing one-on-ones, basically.
He got a tremendous reception as he was coming off. I think quite a few of the players made a point to go over to him and give him a pat on the back. So you're 100% right. And players do recognise other players that have got value. Just before we move on from Brentford, comment on Udogie, because he's done it a couple of times where he's turned back. And it was a weird one as well, because I can't work out how he didn't see Tony.
Van der Veen pointed. I don't know whether Van der Veen was saying, don't go there. I think Van der Veen didn't see him either.
But it almost looked to me like he got his head up and he saw Vicario and literally...
Do you know something? When the game kicked off, I was struggling to pick out the Brentford players, and I was thinking, is this a Man United Southampton type thing where the players can't see each other? I wonder whether Tony just didn't notice him. I thought their shirt colour was odd last night. I was struggling to pick them out. He just didn't see him.
It was such a weird thing, because he even had the time to get his head up. And I thought he got his head up to see where Vicario was. I was looking right down. I thought he got his head up to see Vicario's there, so I'm going to put it there, right? Make it easy for my keeper.
I also think Vicario...
And Tony was right in front of him.
I think if you watch it back, there's a shot from behind the goal. Vicario puts his hand up, because at that point, Tony's behind him. And I don't think Vicario's seen him either.
I still thought, and it shows you what a striker Ivan Toney is. I still thought when he's one-on-one, I was like, could Vicario maybe save this? But he just fires it straight past him. He's one of my favourite bits of the night. I won't sing it. Was the Ivan Toney song.
You can sing it.
Yeah.
Ivan Toney, you should have cashed out.
You should have cashed out.
Listen, he's worn the
admitted
worn
to
the
it, right?
punishment.
Yeah.
I like the Vicario comment to him as well.
I
at the end
don't
of
know
the
if
game.
that's true. I think it's come from a.
Well, no, there's definitely.
What's this?
Vicario definitely had words with him because there was a clip
Yeah, but he could have
of,
said anything.
and Tony was like vexed and angry, and in fact, it was Romero in between them,
Of course.
pulling being
peacemaker.
peacemaker,
of course,
and pulling Tony away. So Vicario definitely says something.
What's the suggestion?
No, the rumoured quote of Vicario is that Tony had been in his ear the whole game, chatting to him, and Vicario says something to him at the end of the game, like, "I hope you didn't have a bet on that," or something like that.
That's going to rattle him, isn't it?
Yeah,
but that is also
But I hope he said it. I
it's
actually
gonna
hope he
happen.
It
said
is
it.
also the obvious thing.
It's gonna happen.
If you were going to sit, guess what he said. Oh, it's probably something about that.
All right, listen, a couple of other comments. Arfie D. Skippy's rubbish, not the level of top 4 team.
I agree. He's not the level of
I don't
top
think he's
4
rubbish,
team.
but he's not top 4 level.
He's not the level of top 4 team, but you need a squad and you need homegrown club trained players.
Yeah, Rick in Rio, who's obviously not in Rio because he sits in Stratus, which I think is the Spurs premium. There's no donuts in Stratus, guys. Sticky toffee pudding.
Oh, that sounds nice.
That's a great segue because
Trust you to know exactly where the posh seats are.
I don't. I'm just.
Where's
Can you let him do his?
You've done it again. I had a segue 2 weeks ago, and you
Again.
stopped my segue.
It's live.
Sticky toffee
Toffee pudding. Who are the toffees, Jake?
Yeah, I get it.
We're gonna talk about Everton in a minute, and this is a really good test to see if our producer's listening. He's listening because earlier we caught up with a former Everton legend, captain. We interviewed him, and we're going to play that right now.
Hopefully.
This is 58 goals, 1 against Tottenham. Welcome to an Echo of Glory, Leon Osman.
Hi guys, you all right?
Great, thank you for joining us, Leon. Right, I'm going to take your mind back to the not too distant past, 23rd of December 2023. Everton on a run of 4 wins in a row, 4 clean sheets. Turn up at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, put in what I thought was a really, really good performance, but ultimately lost 2-1. Since then, no wins in 5 in the Premier League. What's happened since that good run in December?
Everton have just stopped being able to score goals. I think defensively still.
All right, turns out we had a bit of an issue with that interview
That's live,
with
baby.
Leon Osman.
We didn't have an interview with Leon Osman or the interview. We had a technical issue with the production.
Yeah, we had a technical issue. We will get that interview out maybe separately as a little piece of extra content.
Because it was very good.
It was really good.
Surprisingly enough, broadcaster Leon Osman was very good.
Yeah, so
And
maybe
what a
that.
charming guy.
Oh yeah, lovely guy.
So we'll play the Leon.
You'll just have
Osman.
to take our word for it.
We'll play the Leon Osman interview another time, or maybe we'll put it into the show and re-edit the show. But
I would, yeah.
listen, Everton is one of those games that we've traditionally done well in. We've not won at Goodison since that 6-2 in 2019. I think they've all been draws since last year. That was when...
God, what a game that was, that 6-2.
6-2, that was amazing. That was the game that Gary Neville spent the entire game trying to sell Pochettino to Man United. Because who was leaving at that point? Mourinho? I don't know.
Actually, I was going to say if the interview does get dropped in, we were talking to Leon about some old Everton matches. I was looking at one of the teams for it, the one that they beat. Was it the last time they won, or did they beat us at White Hart Lane? The one that you asked him about, not the 4-3, the other one.
The 3-1 wasn't the last. They beat us in COVID, Calvert-Lewin. They've beaten us a few times since.
Oh yeah, he said it was an early season game.
August 2007.
Yeah, it was when we still had Premier League games on like the first Tuesday of the season. Do you remember those? They'd always be in the evening on Tuesday and Wednesday. We'd have Saturday first game and then midweek. What you reckon? It was August 2007. And I was looking at the teams, the lineups, and I was thinking, yeah, no wonder we lost 3-1 to Everton. You know, our team, Robinson, okay, Kabul, Chimbonda, Gardner, Staltieri, Zakora.
Surprised we got one.
Okay, we had Berbatov and Keane, but I mean, come on. I mean, you look at their team. They've got Tim Howard in goal. They've got Stubbs, Yobo, Hibbert, Lescott, Lee Carsley, Phil Neville, Arteta, Osman.
Not a bad team.
Johnson and Anichebe up top. Phil Jagielka on the bench. They should have been expecting to go to White Hart Lane and win that game.
And they did.
And they did.
Just want to say about Neil, the mistake from Udogie wasn't irrelevant because it put us under the cosh for the last 20 minutes or so. 3-1 is very different to 3-2, so it was a big mistake. But I do agree with Neil on Skippy, and that's the point I've been making. We shouldn't be mugging him off. He tries his heart out. He's a decent player, and there you go.
I'm allowed to think he's not good enough.
Anyway, back
But
to Everton.
I agree with who was it that said about Udogie? It is irrelevant. I know what he means though.
It's irrelevant now.
No, yeah, but also, but the reason why I think I know what he's saying. I think it's irrelevant in the sense that going forward, the reason why maybe you don't need to be as worried about last night's game as perhaps you are, or the result, is because it's probably easier to cut mistakes out than it is if we're conceding goals and we're getting ripped apart.
Sure.
Yeah.
And we've conceded a few of those this season, as you said. And Udogie is still very young, as we know. You know, he's had red cards, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But there's no question, and I think you agree with me. There's no question that the good that he's done this season.
Oh, 100%.
And no. Okay, no. You're not having a go in, but it's probably a bit easier to cut those mistakes out of his game than say if he wasn't performing.
Yeah.
To then get him to become the player.
A bit like Johnson for me.
a bit like
That's
Johnson.
my worry. Has he got it? Can he do it?
Yeah, I mean, I think he's coming.
I think
midway through.
Udogie's proven a lot more than Johnson at this stage.
Yeah.
I'm not having a go at Udogie in any way. I'm just saying it was a weird one.
It was.
It did put us under pressure, a lot more pressure
Yeah.
than we should have been under for the last 20 minutes. It
Yeah.
should have been a pretty comfortable game once we scored those
Yeah.
3. But it's not something I'm overly worried about because it's that bizarre. It just shouldn't really happen.
On that,
too
what
often.
you said about it should have been more comfortable at 3-1 at home, you'd like to think so, but we'd kind of played our hand at half time. They could still make subs and freshen it up. I know Jamie Donnelly came on and we all want to see one of our own and all that sort of stuff. Once we made those subs at half time, that was it.
Yeah, because
we had
we've got
nowhere to
nothing
go.
else on
Yeah,
the
but,
bench at the moment.
Listen, there have been games this season where we wouldn't have been able to make a double
Yeah,
sub and
it's
have
great.
that kind of effect. So
Brilliant.
If you,
But I don't think in the Premier League now you're ever comfortable at 3-1 at home.
No, well, this
With
is
a half an hour to go.
I was saying to my brother and Dino, who I was sat with last night, I was saying we need a fourth. We had a big chance for the fourth.
Kulusevski faffed about with one,
Yeah,
didn't he? Yeah.
should have just put his laces through it. Right, we had a big chance, but of course we needed a fourth because one goal, as we saw, in whatever manner it came, and the momentum changes, everybody's on edge, and anything can happen. So of course you're not safe, particularly under Ange Ball, where you will concede chances. But
Ange said that he said that he used the words that you used. They got him. They got involved in things that they shouldn't have done, and it was basically the players getting riled up.
We fell into all their traps.
Fell into all their traps. That's
Every
the word.
single
And
one.
I didn't know what that meant. And then I heard Johnson's interview at the end, and he said he actually admitted that they were getting riled up. I mean, for the players to actually admit that is pretty unusual.
But you
Well,
can
we
see
did
that it
against
got to them.
Chelsea. Did
Yeah,
against
but the
Chelsea.
players didn't admit. I'm saying the players, they've actually come out and said, "Yeah, they actually got to
but
us."
you could
a bit,
see
which
that
is
it got
quite-
to them because Johnson's
Yeah,
celebration for his
of course
goal,
you
that-
could.
you know,
Yeah.
where he gave it all of that,
Yeah.
like taking the mick out of them. We should be looking at Brentford saying, "Do you know what? Let them do their stuff. We are better than them."
Yeah, that's
right.
what
And we're
Ange
just going to
said.
go and absolutely
We're
peel
still-
all over
he
them.
said it. We're naive in
Right.
our,
He
we're
wasn't
in
that
our
happy
journey.
afterwards.
But the
about
fact
that.
that Johnson,
No.
we all love the fact that Johnson celebrated like that. But what it actually showed me
Is he rattled us?
was that he rattled us. Why should Neil Maupay scoring a little goal
Yeah,
that
but
was a
we'd
little
all do the
scrubber
same.
of
At
a
any
goal?
level on a Sunday morning, you're going to...
Yeah, I get that, but they should be above that.
Takes
They
balls.
should be
It takes
above
balls
that.
that though, doesn't it? To go to the away ground and copy and mug off the
But
celebration.
they're doing
of
it
the-
because
of the
they
best
wanted
player.
to get us. They know that the way to get us, stop us playing, break the game down, wind them up, rile them, get at them, right? That's the only way that these teams can beat us. It's what Everton, I guarantee you, are going to do everything
Yeah.
at Goodison.
Nice segue. Don't ruin it.
Yeah.
Let's talk. Finally, let's finish this off
That
with
as
a
a
little,
favour for you.
little chat about against Everton. Like I said, a team we've always done well against, but it doesn't matter what's gone on in the past.
No, but also Everton this season, everyone's been talking about, okay, they've had a bit of a rough time of it recently, but you take away the 10 points and they're doing all right. And I'm pretty sure.
Not as well as they were doing about a month
Yeah, of
ago.
course not. That's why I said take away they haven't had a very good, but you're not going to win all your games. But look at them now. You put them on 28 points. That leaves them 12th, which is a lot better than 18th. And another point that you will try and back me up on is their home form. I imagine.
You're rubbish.
Is it rubbish?
3 home wins all season.
Well, 3 out of 8. It's nearly half, isn't it, Gary?
Drew with Villa. Okay, so
We worked out, I'm not the mathematician.
they're last. Listen to their home run.
You sod.
The last 6 home games.
No, I said I thought you were the mathematician.
I think it's about 42% off the top of my
Right,
head.
there you go.
They've played Villa, City, Chelsea, Newcastle United, and Brighton
At home?
Yeah, in the last 6 home games, of which they've won 3. To be fair, their home performance not bad. Everton will.
Yeah, they're home. Yeah,
Everton are going to Everton. They're going to be difficult to play.
Yeah.
I think you know what you're going to get. Yes, you know what you're going to get with Spurs, but I'd obviously rather be
because
Spurs going into.
I
this
also
game.
think as worrying in inverted commas as they might have been going forward, what Dyche has managed to do more often than not this season is get them pretty solid at the back. If you go, they're the kind of team under any team under Dyche, and it took him a while to get to that point. But now he's at the point where they've become that traditional Sean Dyche team. If you go a goal down at home to Everton, it is trouble.
Yeah.
In a way that it wasn't last night.
And their fans are the best/worst at getting. Trying to get the ref on, get them on side, get on the back of the ref, complain for the Goodison moan, complain for everything.
But that's a credit to them.
That's what they do.
Absolutely.
And we've got to be careful with that. We should be going there, and we should be. I don't ever like saying we should be winning, but we should go and create chances and get a couple of goals.
Even the Arsenal game, I don't know if you remember earlier on in the season, Arsenal won 1-0, but I think they scored very late, and it looked
Arsenal
like
traditionally had a tough time.
Yeah,
there.
but it's for teams that want to play. I mean, it's if we can get it's the age old cliche. If we can score early, then it's a different game. But if Everton, the longer it goes on at 0-0, or if they get a goal, if they go 1-0 up, it's trouble.
I sort of hope in some way that the game last night is the perfect dress rehearsal for Goodison, because they're going to play in a similar way, a very similar way.
What, donuts and then toffees?
They're going to play in a very, very similar way. And I think hopefully Spurs should have learnt some very valuable lessons to take up to Goodison. We have to play much quicker from the get-go. We have to go at them much harder, much faster. We have got to put them away in one of our 20-minute spells. And we can do that. We could literally blow them away, and that Goodison crowd will go silent, and that will be game over. The threats from Everton are going to be, as we know, on the counter. But what really concerns me is the set pieces, because against a team like City, who you shouldn't be conceding from a set piece against City. They are good. They practice them clearly. I'm not dismissing it. I'm not dismissing that, right? But of all the ways that you would think to concede against City, you'd be disappointed.
Talking of set pieces, did you see that corner Brentford had in the first half with all 22 players were basically in the 6-yard box?
This is it, right? Is that they'd obviously looked at the City ball right on top of Vicario. Yeah. They did it a number of times. Yeah. You can be damn sure, and I actually think we looked at this stat the other week about the number of touches that players have had in the box, and Tarkowski is one of the players with the most number of touches in the attacking in the opponent's box. Just tells you what they do from set pieces. They are going to put it under his bar every single time. And I'm really hoping that we've learnt lessons from City. Get the man away from the keeper. I get all your zonal stuff. I get all of that. But if somebody's standing on your keeper, somebody's got to take responsibility and get him off the keeper.
I'm sure they will.
That's number one. Number two is, the way Brentford played last night, we've got to take the lessons and we've got to learn going up to Goodison, because if we get it wrong, they will punish us.
Yeah. Shame that Son was a minute away from coming home.
Well, I was going to say, that's a good segue. What's the starting 11 going to be? Curry in goal, same back four.
I wouldn't be surprised if... I was going to say he starts
Madison
with a team that finished, but I'm not sure he will start.
Well, Madison definitely starts.
Yeah.
Then what?
I'll tell you the team.
Come on then.
All right. I'll put
the
money.
Back five is the back five.
I put money on this.
Back five picks itself.
The back five picks itself. I will go Bentancur in the 6, Sarr in the 8, Madison in the 10, Kulusevski, Werner, and Richarlison.
Yeah, I think that's
probably about right. I mean,
and Sarr is huge in this game. Huge.
When did Sarr go out? Was it Monday?
Ange said he'd be back.
Yeah, but to start.
I'd imagine that he'd be training today and tomorrow, and he must be back.
They'd want him back in the team, wouldn't
We've got
they?
16 Premier League games left. We need him.
Yeah.
He's not like he's not been playing. He's been playing, so he's fit to play.
A key part of this game as well is I was trying to get Leon to tell us if he had any insight as to Doucouré and Onana and if they will be playing. If one of those or both of those are playing,
Gary wanted a scoop.
It is a very, very different game. It's a very different game. If they're both playing, it becomes infinitely harder. If neither of them are playing and we don't beat Everton, that to me would be really poor. Really,
just
really
seeing
poor.
if there's any update. Doucouré, Sounds like he's not going to play Doucouré. Gay is fit, and Onana is a doubt.
A doubt.
The one who sounds like he won't play is Doucouré.
Who's probably, I mean, Onana and Doucouré are the two. They make a big difference. It's going to be a tough game.
Yeah. Right, let's just a couple of more comments. Normal Stanley Fletcher says Dragoson's height would be beneficial. Like, he's really good in the air, but I don't think he's going to start him. And Neil, I agree. Look, don't lamb too many set pieces. When will Maddison take a goal-scoring free kick? It's been a while since we scored a direct free kick. And Perdani, 82, what are your thoughts on Porro? I was actually thinking about Porro last night. It wasn't his best game. Brilliant.
But he's had some good ones
Brilliant
recently.
pass for the second goal. No. I get these goals that came so quickly.
Yeah,
Third
they were
goal.
similar.
First goal opened up there, took out two of their players with a pass in field to Højbjerg, rolled it to Udogie, and the rest is history. Right, I thought he had a decent game. I love both of them, Porro and Udogie.
Yeah. I mean, they're just class. And somebody made the point earlier that, we haven't got to really worry about fullback. We've got the fullback position sorted for the next 5-6 years, you'd think. I think centre-back as well is sorted for the next 5 or 6 years, to be honest.
But the thing that we have at centre-back now is backup. And Dragoshin, I know he didn't come on for very long, but you know what he's got as well? He's got
Ponytail.
He's got a very good
Top
ponytail. Top, yeah, it's top, isn't it? A top
Top
knot?
knot.
Yeah, it's top knot.
Sorry.
If you had TikTok, you'd know. He has, and I don't know. Again, I might just be reading into things, but he has that confidence. You can tell, I think, that he has a confidence in himself that he comes on there. There you can name a lot of defenders over the years that we've had at Tottenham that you bring them on for the last 10 minutes and we're up there crapping.
Like when Conte brought on Davinson Sanchez.
Anyone.
We needed a goal against
we
Milan.
could list them, but he comes on and not only does he give us confidence, but I think the way he carries himself, he's coming on there going, I know that I can do this. I'm here to do a job that I know I can do it. And it's just, he gives the rest of the players that, the calmness and the certainty.
That's what you need from your squad.
Absolutely. And he's got that. What we don't have is the cover in the fullback positions.
Agreed.
We've got two fantastic fullbacks. If one of them gets injured, you don't have somebody to come in who's going to be able to get on the ball in the way they do and score the goals and set up.
So that'll
goals
be
the way
next.
they do. That'll be next.
The one thing I'll say on Dragoshin, I'm sure he's going to go on to be a very, very good player for us, but I'm not a fan. I was thinking it when he came on last night. I'm not a fan of the big shift in formation that takes place when he comes on. And I thought it could lead, like it did at United.
What, 3 at the back?
Yeah, against United, it led to a big chance that they should have put away in the last second, and we should have gone away from there with no points. And that all came about because I think of the confusion of that back line.
Last
it happened
night they
last
had that
night
chance,
when,
Baptiste.
again, it comes over and the volley at the far post that he
No
puts
one's
right
picking him
down.
up.
No one's picking him up. And you're thinking to yourself, you've got 3 centre-backs. How is nobody picking him
They
up?
start to mark space at that point.
That's the point, is I think Dragoshin will go on to be a good player. I hear what you're saying. He looks composed. He looks solid. He looks, like a good player. But the tactical switches against United and last night and going to the back just seemed to confuse things, and we didn't pick up players that could have led to goals. So I don't want to see that at Goodison.
But we won. But I agree. Prediction for Saturday, please.
I'm going to say 2-1 Spurs. I'm not going to say we're not going to win, but Leon's gone bold with 3-2. 5 goals would be something.
3-2 to Everton, he said. I mean, we just ruined that for the listeners. But yeah. I am going to go 2-0 Tottenham.
I'm going to go 1-0 to Tottenham.
Interesting.
Late goal.
I went 2-0, so I can't go through another, on the edge of my seat. I just want us to get 2 up early doors and just close it out.
I say late goal.
I'm in trouble on Saturday.
Why?
Son's party.
Oh, yeah, well, that's fair enough.
Son's party.
Not much you can do about that.
2:00.
We have a
kickoff.
Yeah, I know, but what about the last 20 minutes?
We have a terrible record on my son's birthday. We
And
lost
it's
to
not at
Burnley,
ours.
West Ham. So hopefully your son doesn't fall foul of my son's Tottenham birthday curse.
I hope that your household is okay.
Yeah,
on the
me
weekend.
too. Me too.
Johnny won't be there.
But talking of, by the way, Gary, late.
Is it as fellow football fans? Is it acceptable to? I'm turning up there with the phone. Am I?
What, your son's birthday?
Yeah.
Yeah. Have you got an entertainer there?
Yeah.
Mate, just sit at the back and put the phone
I
on.
know, but it's not just. I've got some of my mates coming as well.
Sodom. Speak to them after. I don't speak to my mates when they're there. Just sit on the phone and watch the game.
Sat at the back.
Agree. Or just stay at home.
Sit in the car.
With their mates, they're like,
No,
I'm sitting in
this
the
is
car.
what we
It's like,
do. No.
oh, love, I think we've got a flat tire. I'm gonna have to
Wait for the AA.
Wait for the AA.
No, you get your wife to record the party and you stay at home and watch the game.
yeah.
Wife to record the party.
And you can
I just
watch
had
it
to
back
think about
later.
what you were saying there.
Yeah, Neil's right. Put your
yeah.
phone on. Right, listen, we're
Yeah.
going to go. I just want to say one thing. I talked about us winning it with a late goal. Late goal at Everton away. Do you remember that?
Was it Joe Max Moore?
Joe Max
2-2.
Moore.
I was at that game.
Yeah,
and
we
I remember
went
it.
together.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
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 And we
I remember
lost-
the goal more than I remember being there with you, to be fair.
Yeah, more,
I also remember.
this is more ancient history lessons.
I also remember.
With their pterodactyls flying around as well.
I also remember Ginola with a great lob up there. I think we won 2-0 that one. Or
Was that
it
not
might
Christian
have been the
Gross's
same game.
first game?
No.
No, I don't know.
I remember a few games up. I was up there
Yeah.
actually. The last time I was up there was with my old man, and we were on TV, and it was when Kane scored. Do you remember? We won 3-0, and Kane. It was definitely a cross.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
he puts it over.
He had a brilliant record against Everton.
Yeah, that was the last time that I was up there. And that was with him, and our mugs got onto the box that night. Good times at Goodison.
All right, listen. We've all predicted a victory for Tottenham Hotspur. We'll see, won't we? Next week we'll be back previewing Brighton.
Have we got that special guest? Do we know yet?
No, we're not going to talk about that yet.
Okay.
But there are more special guests coming.
There's one we're really excited about.
Really excited about.
Mm.
Leave it there.
Leave
Right,
it there.
gentlemen, thank you for all who
Cliffhanger.
have put them.
Cliffhanger.
Cliffhanger. Is that his name? Cliffhanger. Thanks for all those who have listened, got involved. We will sort out the Leon Osman interview and put it in the show or put it out as a little bit extra. Jake, Gary, thank you very much. We will be back next week and up the Spurs.